It says, so my name is Diane Daiga. I say Daiga like tiger. Yes, tiger with the fierceness. Okay. I'm from Cameroon originally. I've been here for many, many years. And what do I do? You know how when you wear many hats, sometimes you have to pick and choose which version of myself do I introduce. But my career, I'm an IT professional. I recently left my job. I've been doing that for 20 years, IT, and then I took a leap of faith to go do what I believe I was called to do. And that is really into media and empowering women. And in media, I have a talk show called dDTalks. And the show is about engaging people in thought-provoking conversations. So I'm usually interested in the stories behind people, what pushes them, what drives them. I interview kids, I interview women, I interview pastors, I mean just any and everybody. I like to say I capture the narrative of our stories. And the only thing I don't really do is politics. Politics is too serious. I don't really like politics. I'm more of a fun person. And then recently I also opened a media house. It's located in Laurel, the city of Laurel. So if you have content, I'm always looking for people who are content builders. If you have a show concept, anything that you would like to do, feel free to reach out. And then I'm also a curvy, plus-size woman. And I'll speak about that since we're talking confidence. A few years ago, I started an organization called Miss Statuesque, and it was really about empowering curvy women. Given that I was a curvy woman myself, having faced a lot of criticism, sometimes negativity about my body, made to feel embarrassed about it. Once I figured out how to deal with that, I said there must be many other women who have the same issues. And so that platform was really about just helping to empower them. So, since we're talking confidence, I think it was important that I did that last year, 2 years ago. 2018, I decided to venture outside of my comfort zone. Usually I used to organize pageants way back in the day, but I decided to be in the pageant myself. I contested for Ashley Stewart. Ashley Stewart is a plus-size curvy girl brand for their clothing. I made top 2 for DMV area. And then I went on to compete nationally, and I was a top 8 finalist. I made top 8. So, it was interesting, just really competing at that level. And there were many things that it did. It opened a lot of doors of possibilities and just different connections at different levels. And I say that because I think there may be people who have dreams that you put behind because you subscribe to the labels that people say about you. So I encourage you not to do that. Always give yourself a shot. You just never know what could come out of that. So, you have the sheets. Everybody have the sheets that I gave out? Okay. Take a look at the sheet. It just says, so the first part is about the day. I need you guys to write that down. 3 main things that day. How many know that day is just a blanket term? So they could be saying something about you on Facebook, but it's really day. Day, the word changes every day. Day today could be your schoolmates. Day tomorrow could be your colleagues. Day tomorrow could be your family, could just be anybody. So what are the 3 main things that people say about you? That you have registered in your mind, maybe that hurt you, that touched you. And then on the other side, you want to write 3 beautiful things that those same day say about you. In the second part, it's about you. We are our own worst critics. So what are the 3 main things that you say about your own self? Sometimes people complain about their figures, you complain about your hair, you complain about your toes, you complain about just any and everything. So what are the 3 main things that you say about your own self? And then what are the 3 beautiful things that you say about yourself? Sometimes people don't even have any good thing to say about themselves. So I want to challenge you to write 3 beautiful things that you say about you. And then on the 3rd part, I need you to write 3 people that you admire and look up to. And then you may want to say why. Just register that. So while I do my presentation, just keep writing that as we continue. So can you imagine if life had no mirrors? And you couldn't see yourself? And then you had to rely on the perception of others about you. As you couldn't see what you actually looked like. There was no reflection whatsoever. And now you had to look at other people and trust what they say about you. That they will say maybe you have this type of eyes or you have this hair. If that were to happen, who would you believe? Do you have any people right now that you could trust their belief about who you are, what they could say about you? Is that possible? Anyway, I always found it harder to self-evaluate myself. You know how at work, they will ask you to evaluate yourselves. If they ask you to evaluate the next person next to you, I'm pretty sure you can come up with 10 things about that individual right now. Like just from being here, what you observe, their hair, their outfit, and all of that. But what do you say about yourself? Is it easy to analyze yourself? You have to understand that you must train yourself when it comes time to evaluate yourselves, because it requires you to look inwardly, and that skill does not require sight, physical sight, when you're evaluating yourself. It requires more of truthfulness, faith, wisdom, knowledge, and none of which are really tangible. You cannot quantify it. You can't say, this is how much I've put in to observe myself. So what then is self-confidence? The conceptual framework of self-confidence includes your attitude, your body language, your habitual behaviors, responses, language usage, and content. It is the freedom from self-doubt. When you stop doubting yourself, it's an element of self-confidence. It is the belief in yourself that you're capable to say and do exactly what you set out to do. It is knowing without second guessing it. It is a necessary ingredient that is needed to ignite or spark something that you're about to embark on. Let's say a job interview, you're going to need some confidence. A relationship, a game, a business, partnerships, all of that requires it. So the prerequisite for that is a little bit of confidence. You need to have confidence to embark in those things. It is what differentiates being inspired versus actually starting. So you can be inspired all you want. We're going to be inspired today. But if you don't take the actions to back it up, you're lacking in something. So you will need to go back and find out, what is it that I lack that is preventing me from going forward? So I need you to keep in mind that today's world urges you and I to be confident. It is the ability to share your spotlight without fear that yours will be diminished. Yes. It is the courage to walk away to preserve your honor and dignity rather than staying and losing it to pride and ego. Having the humility to accept your mistakes and then grow from them. It is a self-confidence, is being wisdom pro with a good foresight. I mean, if you have wisdom, clearly, it means you have foresight. You have the ability to see beyond. It is standing your ground when you believe you're doing the right thing, even if others criticize you for it. Your willingness to go the extra mile and take more risk just because you're striving to do better. It is how you esteem and appraise yourself. So what is your own price tag? If you were given a blank check of life, how would you rate, or evaluate yourself? What would you put on that blank check about your value? Do you even know what your value is, what your worth is? How do you name it? How do you call it? So understand that things work like, I'm sure somebody may have paid you a compliment today and then they may say, your blouse looks pretty, and you was like, oh, this blouse, I just bought it from. You just diminished yourself. They were edifying you, but you brought it down. Right? Someone was elevating you, they were complimenting you, but you took your own compliment away. They didn't ask you where you bought it. They just said it was beautiful. So learn to take in the compliment, absorb it, and live in the now. Right? Think about it. The same item, like let's say soya. You can go to one restaurant and soya costs $10. And you go to another one, it costs $20. And then you go to another one, it costs $50. But it's the same meat. Why are they charging differently? It's what they believe is their worth. It's what they believe their time for cooking that meat is worth. So, again, the question would be, what is your price tag? How do you estimate yourself? What is your value? How do you rate yourself? We're going to make it without the table. So first of all, let me take you back to, how do you lose your confidence to begin with? Because we're talking about confidence because some people have lost it. Some people are in the journey of finding themselves. So what are some things that will make you lose your confidence? It is usually triggered by an event, experience, or pure fear. Those are the things that trigger it. It could be triggered because someone may have told you something really, really mean. And then it triggers a panic in you. And then you start doubting. You listen to a lot of women who would say things like, when they were in grade school, a teacher said something to them. And then that affected how they felt about themselves. Or someone said something about your hair. Or you dated the wrong guy. And he didn't pay you all the right compliments. And then you started doubting yourself. You started second-guessing yourself. Those are some of the things that would trigger. Or someone leaves you abruptly with no explanation. And then the concept of you wondering, why did they leave you? You start thinking, the first instinct is to think it was your fault. It's like kids, when their parents separate, the first thing is they take the blame. They always feel that they are the problem. Kids don't have the intelligence to understand that this is an adult issue and it's really not about them. But they always inherit the blame. And then it may take a whole lifetime for them just to draw the lines and separate that. Another thing that would make you lose your self-esteem is when you spend time seeking permission and validation from others. You want acceptance. You're always going to someone. So you want to travel. You will not make the decision yourself. You want permission. You want someone to say, oh yeah, I think it would be a nice idea. Or you want someone to approve your hairstyle. You want someone to always give you permission. Or when you do something, you always ask, what do you think? What do you think? How about how you felt about your decision for the action you took? The question about seeking permission and validation is that, where are you going to? Who is the source? Because when you go to the wrong source, there are consequences. And there could be irreparable damages. Right? Because they could advise you wrongly, and then that tends to affect how you feel. It is a state of also being stuck mentally in a space that reminds you of your inabilities and insecurities. So you're just stuck. You're stuck in that girl, that 15-year-old girl mindset. You're 20 years, you're 30 years now, but you're still stuck mentally as that 15-year-old girl and what they said about her. You don't want to evolve. You don't want to move from there. And if it's your current reality right now that you're dealing with confidence issue, then you need to find the courage to disengage yourself from those people, that environment that does not make you feel good about you. When you keep refusing help, when people are trying to help you and you keep refusing, eventually it's going to trickle down to self-hate, which eventually leads to low self-esteem and lack of confidence. When you lack trust and you're constantly judgmental, that's how you lose your self-esteem and your confidence. Playing the victim and seeking pity parties, you eventually become that which you practice. All the time, you're always wanting people to feel sorry for you, and eventually you're going to be that person who's always attracting negative energy, and no one really wants to be around that. Eventually you become a burden to your friends and the people around you because they're tired of afflicting you. They're waiting for the day you will find yourself and then not need them, where you will be the one giving back, paying it forward for all that time that is spent empowering you. Understand that for women, there is a direct correlation with body image and our confidence levels. A lot of it is not based on our image of self, but more so about what we have allowed ourselves to subscribe to. Other people's opinions. What we ought to be like. Beauty standards. The double standards about beauty. Some people can have short hair, natural hair. Some can't. Some, like just those double standards. But it's not what you think. Personally, I'm a big hair person. I just like big hair. The bigger, the better. I don't care. I just like big hair. And then there are people who really don't like hair. Like Eureka. Right? So people just like short hair. They like the freedom of short hair. So I was dating this guy one time, and I swear, all he kept seeing was my hair. Like, why you gotta do the hair like that? I'm like, at some point I had to stop and say, but did he know this before he talked to me? Like, I mean, he's never seen you with any other hair. But big hair, so why is that a problem now? I mean, he said that so many times that he started irritating me. I started realizing that this is not going to be a happy place for me. I tried to address it many times. I said, the bigger the hair, I actually feel really good. I like it big like that. And if that's going to really be a problem for you, then this is probably not going to work out.
That's it.
So I had to make my decision because he wouldn't bend. Like, he kept telling me, do straight hair, do this. Like straight hair. I want straight hair. I don't like straight hair. I mean, it works for some people, right? Some people really look cute with straight hair. I just like being curly, nice, afro. Like your kind of hair is my kind of hair, her hair. That's how I like it. But it's okay. Know your style and then don't bend. Because so I could have easily said, you know what, I want to please that guy. I mean, one time I actually went and got my hair braided with straight hair. I mean, the things you do.
I know, right?
I was actually mad at myself. I was like, dang, why did I do that? But that's when I noticed the tendencies. I said, this is a sign that I'm starting to lose myself. I'm starting to lose my identity. Because I did the hair for him. It had nothing to do with me. Even my stylist was like, wow, okay, you're trying something different. I was like, yeah, And it was like Valentine's Day weekend, so I thought I was doing something special. But I really did not like the look. I'm just saying that when you start recognizing that you're going outside of yourself, there's nothing wrong with compromising. If you're doing it and you're happy doing it, great. But if it does not give you the joy and the pleasure of doing it, I would step back from it. So you need to understand that. All right? And then I also remember a time when growing up, when I said women's body image is your confidence is tied with your body image. I went to an all-girls secondary school back in Cameroon, and then we had a brother school, which was all boys. Then I remember one day, so we'd have like events that would allow us to interact every now and then. And then I remember one day someone came and told me that the guys have a nickname for me. And the nickname is called Main Building. So like the biggest building in that school. You know, if you're like a 15-year-old, that's traumatizing. Because that means they consider you like the worst looking person. Like you're the biggest. And I don't want to believe that I was the biggest. I mean, I probably had the biggest hips. But that hurt. If I didn't have if I didn't come from a family that was judgment-free, that never told me that you had to do something about your weight, that they never saw me through that lens, it could have broken me. It could have destroyed my confidence and self-esteem. But you know what? Today, guess who has the last laugh? Yeah. This same Main Building, I am actually now using that platform. That's the platform that's giving me the most visibility. I'm leveraging my 6-foot height. So when I audition for something, what they're saying is this tall, curvaceous, confident, swaggericious. That's all I see. I see you walking, and I impose. See, when I want to impose my presence, I do it. Because I know what I carry. So after I overcame that, I had to leverage it. I said, you know what? I'm never going to go back and come as a short girl. I'm not going to be skinny ever. But maybe I could. Maybe I could be skinny. But, this is it. This is it. There's no two lives. So I won't be short ever. So I just have to enjoy what I have in my hands. This is the cards I got dealt with. And I'm sure a lot of you are dealing with some issues as well. You may be saying you're not as tall. Sometimes it's annoying being very tall. Like, I can't hide. I seriously cannot hide. Like in school, if we were doing something and the principal was coming, I just don't run. I don't run. Because it's pointless. They're just going to say, Diane. And then now I have to call out everybody. So I just stand apologizing. And it's the same thing like for church. You know how you go to church and then everybody is like, if I do that, it's still so obvious. You have to bend over and try to walk your way. So I don't do that anymore. I just walk tall. You're just going to enjoy the view. Okay?
That's it. That's it.
I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm sorry. Maybe 5 minutes of distraction. Yeah? Maybe 5 minutes of distraction, but hey, that's it. After I get my seat and then I just deal with it. So you make it work for you. Don't allow other people to influence or impose their positions on you. So there's always a way that you turn it around. Doesn't the scripture, my best book, says all things work together for our good? So there's a way that you can make it work for you. You just have to dig deep and then begin to find out, how can I leverage this? Look at Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie got famous for her lips. Before her career, really. There's so many people that are famous for just their body features. You turn it around and make it work for me. Tina Turner got famous for her legs. Her legs are insured. Tina Turner's legs are insured, like has insurance on it. Yeah. So, I don't know what I'm going to insure. Which part of my body? In my butt. Just kidding, guys. But hey, I might as well insure it. Just in case something happens to me, I can get paid. Get some money out. But, ladies, tonight you'll be casting your vision on a board. That's why we're here. I want to remind you that sometimes people have what you call unnecessary overreach with the vision. And that's a setup for failure. It's like you only have an associate degree right now, but on your vision board you say you want a PhD this year. You know that ain't happening. Have a realistic goal. Stop being unrealistic, ladies. Unrealistic expectations. So you want to make $1 million, and there's nothing wrong with that. But your work ethic is a 20,000 work ethic. You sleep for like 16 hours in a day, all weekend long. That's when you're watching all the Netflix replays. I'm sorry. Those people on Netflix already made their millions.
Yeah.
You are watching the story of their millions. So, maximize your time, leverage your time. You can't be wanting those big goals and you don't do the work. So remember that it comes with some work on attainable goals. Guys, just imagine that there were so many things that you wrote for 2019 that did not come to pass. Carry it over. I know you trashed it, but carry it over. I did vision boards, and I realized that at some point I looked at the boards and I saw that they had manifested some of the things. About 70% of them manifested. Because you're constantly looking at them. If you write it and then you just go put it away, it's not going to happen. See, they say the mind cannot separate the vision from what's actually happening. So the mind just knows that it has a goal and whether it's attainable or not. So the more you keep looking at it, the universe starts working in your favor. Starts putting things, aligning things, opening the pathways, connecting you with people. See, you could be sitting on the table with someone who's holding the keys to the next spot of your destiny. You're trying to go somewhere, but because you're still stuck in your ego, you won't talk to them, and you won't share that goal. They're not going to tell you that they sit on the board of directors. So they could be sitting on the board of directors, and you're trying to have access to that company.
Yeah.
Never judge. Never judge. Don't be quick to judge. You just don't know who has what. Or who knows who. Remember that you're only 6 people removed from the person you're trying to meet. Even Donald Trump. Who wants to meet Trump? When Obama was here, I wanted to meet him so badly. But I'm just saying, you're 6 people removed. If you leverage all your contacts, you will meet who you want to meet. So it's about leverage.
Yeah.
You know somebody who knows somebody. Who knows somebody who knows the person that knows that person. And by just being consistent and being positive, I have attracted a lot of great people in my life. Like, I've surprised myself that, recently I did an interview at the Embassy of Congo. I thought it was just an interview with the ambassador. And all of a sudden, there were like over 20 ambassadors from different African countries. See, I started laughing. I said, this God is too much.
Yeah.
So I was sitting in a room with the ambassador represents the nation. Is the president away from that land? So that's why they're diplomats. They represent that nation. If anything is wrong with you, you go to your embassy. And they represent you. I was just saying, wow, if I'm in this room, this is just a matter of time, man.
That's it.
I've been dining with them too.
That's it.
It's just a matter of time. So you just never know. You just never know. And then it's just a matter of time. Oprah will just call me, Diane, what do you want to do now?
I know, right?
How far now? That's how me and her are going to be rolling. But I believe it. I'm constantly going back to the vision board. Put it where it's visible to you.
Yeah.
All right? And then remember that there are reasons. Remember that those people who criticize you, they're going to be okay. They'll be all right. You focus on you. Understand that everybody has their own journey. The process of being pruned. Everybody is being pruned at some point. Okay. Yeah, I'm almost done anyway. Put your trust in something that's greater than you. Always. So how do you then build that confidence? is still, you have to believe. Be transparent with yourself. Identify what's stopping you from being confident. Don't lie to yourself. That's the worst thing you can ever do. See, you can lie to anybody, but to lie to your own self is a detriment. Whatever it is that you've identified that is your weakness, address it. Visualize yourself living free from that bondage. Picture those people you admire, those people I said you admire. Picture them, and then begin to see yourself in their shoes. Begin implementing and emulating. When you're confident, here's what happens. You're giving others permission to emulate and defy the norms as well. I'm sure there's someone who is just looking at me like, damn, she's confident. All that six. And then you may just be inspired. Just go out and be like, just be you. Just say like, hey, if you could do it and break those numbers, I can do it too. So that's what it does. That's what confidence does. Yeah. And then remember that we're not islands. Be around the right circles, like this environment is the right one. Create positive and affirmative mantras. Develop rebuttals. Know when to counter, reject, and speak up. Develop a good character, discipline. Let me tell you, character will open doors or close doors for you. Understanding and recognizing that there's greater outside of you does not diminish your own self-worth. Not allowing people to step on you. Confidently walking away when you feel unappreciated or despised. Remember that anything that's happening to you is because you allowed it. And because you allowed it, you can also disallow it by correcting and addressing it right away. I went to an event and one guy just, we're just socializing like this, and then at some point, he just felt so free, tapped my butt, like, let's go there. I was like, I looked at him, I was like, excuse me, I did not come here with you, you're not my date, do not touch my butt. See, if I did not address it, he adjusted right away. He was acting like, I'm a little tipsy. But if I let it slide, then that's an attitude that will continue. So I have to address it right away. Like, we're not playing that. Right? Don't take everything personal. It's not always about you. It can also be about people. Yeah. Whatever they mocked you for, you can convert it. And so they laugh about you, that you're single, they're complaining that you're not married, you don't have kids and everything. Make it work for you. Yes. Dates! Go on nice dates. That's why you're single. Some of us married people are miserable. And they would like to go on fancy dates. So, free food, free movie, free dinner, free everything. So, make it work for you. Make that service work for you. Sure. Right? Never stay unhappy. Right? Never stay unhappy. When you're unhappy, what you attract is negative. People run away from you. Start paying compliments to others. What it does is that there's a natural reaction to want to also compliment you back. It will start building your esteem, self-esteem. Right? Begin to act like what you want to become. I'm almost done, guys. Trust me. I was signaled. And so in closing, here's what I want you to remember. Don't worry about people liking you. Worry if you're in the right space. If they deserve your presence. Add value to what you bring by being of value yourself. Don't demand what you can't give. Don't shrink yourself. Accept and market yourself. No one will believe you unless you believe in yourself. Yes. Get comfortable with being different. So remember that there is an urgency for every one of us to rise up and break loose of that shy personality so that you can assume your rightful and assertive places in life. We never remain oblivious to our innate humanness. That means although we have low days and adversity sometimes, as Maya Angelou says, still arise. Go out and shine bright like a diamond. Yes. For a city built on a hill with a firm foundation can never hide. Only a confident man builds on a hill. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, ladies. How do you stop this way?